p.m. and start your day with our balanced and sensational morning news. Our interesting afternoon news comes on at 12 p.m. with updated and fascinating news stories. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. This is the 6 p.m. edition of Kear Newsline. 45 minutes of the most recent captivating news reporting about Liberia and the rest of our one world. I'm Lee Monjue presenting. In the headlines, main opposition CDC threatens to vehemently resist arrest on its lawmakers. Party chairman Janga Ko urges party legislative caucus to boycott the State of the Nation address. University of Liberia president discloses plans to review the free tuition policy at the university. Dr. Lydia McQuine admits that the policy provides better opportunities for undermines internal revenue generation. Also ahead of us, ruling Unity Party brags of several gains within its first year. Party chairman Reverend Luther Tape highlights poverty reduction and pavement of roads across critical region has major achievements. And away from Liberia, Kenya will allow citizens of nearly all African countries to visit without prior authorization according to a new directive by the cabinet. This plus our news bulletin, the voices of the newsmakers, details of our foreign developments are all packaged. Of West Mariama and Jalloh and the news bulletin. Good evening, Mariama.
Good evening, Liberia, and good evening, Lee Manju. Ruling Unity Party Chairman Reverend Luther Tape has assured the party's commitment to fighting corruption in every sector of the country. Chairman Tape said corruption in the public sector has over the years deprived citizens from access to basic social services. Speaking at a press conference Wednesday, Chairman Tape indicated that the ruling party remains keen on living up the campaign promises, including poverty reduction, road construction, and zero tolerance on corruption, among others. He, however, highlighted several developmental achievements made by the Unity Party during its first year of leadership. Chairman Tape named the pavement of 50 kilometers of roads across critical regions, including Nimba, Monrovia, and the Ria Highway. The president of the state run University of Liberia, Dr. Laili Mapayan, has disclosed plans to revive the free tuition policy at the university following the conduct and submission of a performance report in February this year. It can be recalled in 2018, former President George Weah announced the free tuition policy at all public universities, including University of Liberia, to address the high cost of education in Liberia, which lead to significant products drop out of students. Addressing the free tuition policy at the University of Liberia, Dr. Mapayan said the tuition administration will revive the policy on free tuition after the submission of a performance audit report, which is currently ongoing. According to her, though the policy offers an opportunity to increase the university's enrollment, it also poses threat to the university financial strength, decreasing internal revenue. Dr. Mapayan noted that the completion of the performance audit will better inform the administration on its next decision, leading to the free tuition policy. The city government of Painesville has transitioned its revenue collection and HR management system from analog to digital. Speaking to journalists Wednesday, Painesville City Mayor Robert Batson said the process is aimed to improve operational efficiency, enhance user experience, and ensure accurate record keeping. According to him, the transition from analog to digital has had profound implications for both revenue collection and HR management. Mayor Robert Bestman said over the years, PCC has relied on analog systems that involve manual processes for revenue collection and HR management. He stated that the transition to digital system was not merely a modernization effort but a process intended to meet the growing demand for better governance and improve service delivery within Pinsville City. Mayor Robert Bestman assured the business and residents will benefit from quicker services delivery, which will lead to higher levels of satisfaction and compliance with local regulations. The National Security Agency has requested Nausko Willow, its Assistant Director for Operations, to return all agency's property following his unauthorized participation in the funeral services of the late Senator Prince Johnson. According to a communication, the NSA cited Willow's delivery of a tribute on behalf of the Movement for Democracy and Reconstruction as a direct violation of the agency's rules and regulations. The letter signed by Deputy Director for Administration Patrick Doe listed the items to be returned, including a vehicle, badge, and identification card, communication headset, and weapon. Additionally, the NSA says Wallo is required to submit a written explanation for his actions addressed to the Office of the Director, emphasizing the importance of prompt compliance with the request. This development follows the recent funeral of Senator Prince Johnson, a prominent figure in Liberian politics and former leader of the Independent National Patriotic Front of Liberia. The managing director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, LWSC, Mohammed Ali, is leading a team of engineers and policymakers on a 2 week feasibility tour to southeastern Liberia to study the possibility of expanding pipe borne water services to the region. As part of LWSC development and operational objectives, the corporation will be constructing, expanding, and modernizing water facility in Zweju, Plebo, and Greenville cities. Speaking in an interview with the station, the corporation communication manager, Nipson Tor, disclosed that the corporation hopes to rehabilitate and construct water systems in all 15 counties by the end of 2029. He stated that the purpose of the LWSC feasibility study tour to Southeastern is to access locations to construct a pipe network, construct the groundwater system, and where to build water purification infrastructure. Tor pointed out that the 2 weeks technical study will also ascertain water quality analysis, assess communities to build policy public ecos, and identify public structures that are desirous of water connectivity. Information Minister Jeremy McPia is urging Liberians to unite and embrace the culture of national peace and development. Speaking at Mecca regular press briefing Tuesday, Minister Pia expressed frustration over some citizens' action of criticizing the country's selection for the MCC compact. Minister Pia stated that the selection of Liberians for the compact is not gain for the Unity Party, but will also benefit all Liberians, regardless of political affiliations. He wants Liberians to put aside political and religious differences and focus on nation's peace and development. Recently, Liberia was selected as eligible in recognition of the country's commitment to pursuing critical economic and democratic governance reforms. The Integrity Watch Liberia, with funding from the Embassy of Ireland, which has officially launched a project aimed at encouraging transparency and good governance in the neutral mineral sector in the country. Speaking during the launching ceremony, the executive director of Integrity Watch Liberia Haro Edo said the objective of the project is to ensure that Liberia generates its necessary benefits from the natural resources given the Liberian people. According to him, there has been a lot of short problems when it comes to the state generating the needed revenues to run the affairs of governance and undertake developments that will benefit the citizens. The Minister of Mines and Energy, Woma Pay, says the lack of compliance from concession companies in Liberia poses serious threat to the progress of the country's mineral sector. Minister Pay admitted that the huge challenges have engulfed the mining sector in Liberia, making it difficult to manage the natural resources, especially mineral of the country. He noted that a significant number of concession companies in Liberia do not comply with the ministry guidelines and regulations set in concession agreements. The Minister of Mines and Energy stressed that Liberia is losing significantly in revenue generations and from the mineral sector due to non-compliance and what he termed as leakage that exists in labor. Minister Woma Pay made these comments at a program hosted by Integrity Watch Liberia in Monrovia on Wednesday. To address situation, Minister Pay disclosed proposed that conduct of a mineral sector conference aimed at decentralizing and bringing key stakeholders and the public together. He also highlighted that the Ministry of Mines and Energy will endeavor to recruit and deploy 15 mining agents and inspectors across the country to help combat the current challenges faced by the sector. The chairman of the Liberty Party Youth Wing is staffer in the office of Prompt Yombly of Pro Temp Youngly Kanga Lawrence has issued a stern warning to the Unity Party, suggesting that their current political approach could lead to a similar fate as the Congress for Democratic Change in the 2023 elections. According to Lawrence, the Unity Party is repeating the same mistakes that led to the CDC's downfall, potentially jeopardizing their political future. Lawrence comments amid growing discontent within the Unity Party regarding the treatment of political allies who helped secure Vice President Joseph Walker's victory in 2023. The Liberty Party youth leader reflects on the pre election atmosphere of 2023, noting that various opposition parties were forced to collaborate in an attempt to unseat the ruling Unity Party. The result was the formation of a coalition between the Congress for Democratic Change, National Patriotic Party, and the Liberian People Democratic Party, which ultimately unsucceeded in vandalizing support for George Weah and displacing Walker. However, Lawrence pointed out that after the victory division emerged within the coalition, largely attributed to the CDC alleged arrogance and dismissive attitude towards their partners. This, he argued, led to significant fragmentation within the coalition, which key figures such as Vice President Joe Howard Taylor and Honorable Alex Tyler distancing themselves from the CDC. According to Lawrence, the internal desire created an opening for Buakai and the Unity Party to regain popularity, allowing them to capitalize on the discontent among former allies. And away from Liberia, Kenya will allow citizens of nearly all African countries to visit without needing prior authorization, according to a new directive by the cabinet. Last year, Kenya introduced a visa free policy that required most visitors to apply online for an authorization before leaving their country. But the introduction of the electronic travel authorization, which replaced the visa requirement for all visitors, was criticized as a visa under another name. On Tuesday, a cabinet statement said the ETA would be dropped for all African countries except Somalia and Libya due to security concerns. It said this was part of efforts to support opening skies policies, tourism goals to promote regional integration and ease travel across the continent. Despite introducing the ETA, Kenyan fared worse in the latest ranking of how open its visitors, dropping 17 places to 46 out of 54 nations in the 2024 Africa Visa Openness Index. Several African countries have tried to ease travel requirements for visitors from elsewhere on their continent in recent years, with studies showing it is often easier for citizens of Westerner countries to visit. That's the bulletin of news, and it's back to you now, Lee Monjue, for continuation.
Mariama Jalloh and for Bulletin of News, a regular feature of Kear Newsline. Straight to our first development, the president of the state-run University of Liberia, Dr. Lydia McParyan, has disclosed plans to review the free tuition policy at the university following the conduct and summation of the performance report in this year, February. Addressing the free tuition policy at the University of Liberia, Dr. McParyan said the university administration reviewed the policy on free tuition after the submission of a performance audit report, which is currently ongoing.
And, I can't speak to whether it was a political action, but I can say that it was, in a way, a very generous action on the part of the previous president to think about student welfare and offer free tuition. It has both pros and cons because it does increase access to a wider swath of students to attend school, but it also does decrease the revenues for the university. And it also maybe has a mixed result on students' motivation to complete their education in a timely fashion. If you know you can go for free, oh, you would just keep going. I enjoy being in school. Let me just keep taking classes because they're free. I don't have to finish in 4 years. But the effect of that, particularly on the rankings of the university, can be negative because one of the criteria by which higher ed institutions are ranked is the percentage of people that graduate in 4 years. So if our students are graduating less frequently in 4 years because of the free tuition, then that doesn't help the university. So there's a lot of different angles. I don't want to make any definitive statement until the performance audit on that policy has been completed and I can review those results. I just want the public to think about the fact that there are both pros and cons. So whether we keep the policy or whether we change it, we need to think about how are we providing access to a wide swath of students. We certainly don't want to be an institution where students from less privileged economic backgrounds can't attend the nation's university. We don't want that situation. But we also don't want a situation where the university is missing on the revenue it needs to run its operation. So let's figure out how to do both things, and that's my view. After we get the results, I'll be happy to discuss it with them. I think that will be the really important time to do it because the performance audit is going to tell us how has it performed, what has it done well, what has it not done well. So we can go in there, we can take three choices. One choice is it's great, let's keep it. The second choice is it's terrible, let's get rid of it. The middle choice is let's tweak it. Let's change it somehow, leave certain things there, change certain aspects.
University of Liberia President Dr. Lydia McParyan. Ruling Unity Party Chairman Luther Tape has assured party's commitment to fighting corruption in every sector of the country. Chairman Tape said corruption in the public sector has over the years deprived citizens from access to basic social services. Speaking at the press conference Wednesday, Chairman Tape indicated that the ruling party remains keen on living up to campaign promises, including poverty reduction, road construction, and zero tolerance on corruption, among others.
To steer the affairs of the state for the next 6 years. There is no doubt that the 2023 general elections was hotly contested and that the wonderful people of Liberia made the decision to allow our noble party steers the affairs of the state for the next 6 years. Let me once again, on behalf of the national executives of the Unity Party, and the alliance parties thank the people of Liberia for imposing their confidence in the leadership of our standard bearer, the President, His Excellency, sent the mandate given to our noble party by the wonderful people of Liberia. Today marks exactly 1 year. And as the national chairman, it is expedient to reflect on our journey in the past 365 days. And this press conference is going to highlight our accomplishments in 1 year. It will also highlight the challenges that we inherited as a government, the mandate that was given to the people of Liberia. And Unity Party, unlike other parties that sheepishly close their eyes to things that are not right, I can assure you that this leadership will be on the side of Liberia anytime. Today, I'm here to speak to you, our dear citizens, home and abroad, to highlight the government achievements, to update you on the fight against corruption. We reign on the mantra of rescue, a word that encapsulates our resolve to address the perennial issues that confront our national identity for nearly 2 centuries.
Ruling Unity Party Chairman Reverend Luther Tape. Main opposition CDC has threatened to vehemently resist arrest on lawmakers. According to CDC Chairman Janga Kud, the Unity Party and the Joint Security lacks moral and has no cause to arrest their lawmakers. The, the CDC chairman at the same time urges the party legislative caucus to boycott the upcoming State of the Nation address on Monday.
And now we have time to begin to target members of the CDC. Yes. Will be resisted. They will be resisted strongly. No national resistance movement. I want to tell you that the peace and security of the country is in your hands. You decide for the country to progress, for the country to progress. The peace and stability of this country is in the hands of President Joseph Parker and the Unity Party. And we are calling on you. We are calling on you to desist, to tell you, and attempt to arrest any of the CDC lawmakers. Maybe you arrest the entire CDC. If you arrest any of the CDC lawmakers, you should be ready to arrest the entire CDC. Okay. Because we are aware that the bogus charges, the bogus investigation are being appropriately conducted by the National Police and whatever national security apparatus has got no iota of transparency. We challenge you because you are not told the people who was manning the Capitol building on December 18. Who provided security for the Capitol building December 18. You are not told, you are not addressed the issue of how those chairs got removed from the joint chambers before it got them on fire. You have an obligation and you are answerable to the Liberian people, you are accountable to the Liberian people. In the reckless arrogance that you think you can cut up charges against decent Liberians and try to throw their reputation in the mud. So you want to validate or threaten the removal of the speaker will be resisted. Yeah. And will be resisted strongly. Yeah. We want to send out the message to everyone.
Jangako is main opposition CDC party chairman. The Integrity Watch Liberia, with funding from the Embassy of Ireland, has officially launched a project aimed at encouraging transparency and good governance in the natural mineral sectors of the country. Speaking during the launch ceremony, the executive director of Integrity Watch Liberia, Harold Ado, said the the objective of the project is to ensure that Liberia generates its necessary benefit from the country's natural resources. According to him, there has been a lot of short problems when it comes to state generating the needed revenue to run the affairs of governance and undertake development that will benefit the citizens.
This project is being launched at a time where the government of Liberia has concluded and launched its arrest agenda for inclusive development. If many of you who have looked at the arrest agenda, it has a financing projection of around 8.4 billion US dollars. If you look at the current national budget, hovering around 700 to 800 million US dollars, that clearly tells us that we have a financing deficit of some 4 billion US dollars. As a country, we particularly believe that our natural resources is one of the surest ways we can bridge this financing gap, optimize domestic resources, and be able to finance many of the development priorities that we have as a country. In this vein, many of you are aware that also as a country, we have a lot of challenges, particularly within the natural resource sector, in terms of how we as a country negotiate many of the concession agreements. Even when the concession agreements are negotiated, there are a lot of challenges around transparency, a lot of challenges around negotiating for value in terms of the fiscal terms of the agreement. We believe that we could negotiate better. But even with what we are able to negotiate for, ensuring compliance either within the labor sector, issues around human rights, issues around taxation.
Integrity Watch Liberia Executive Director is Hara Ado. Well, listeners, if you are just tuning, you are listening to the Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, 6 p.m. edition of Kear Newsline. 45 minutes of the most recent news about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of our one world. I'm Lee Monjue presenting. In the headlines, main opposition CDC threatens to vehemently resist arrest on its lawmakers. Party's chairman Jangaku urges party legislative caucus to boycott the upcoming State of the Nation address. University of Liberia president discloses plans to review free tuition policy at the state-run university. Dr. Lydia McQuire admits that the policy provides better opportunities but undermines internal revenue generation. Ruling Unity Party brags of several gains within its fourth year. Party chairman Reverend Luther Tape highlights poverty reduction and pavement of roads across critical regions as major achievement. And away from Liberia, Kenya will allow citizens of nearly all African countries to visit without prior authorization, according to a new directive, while the cabinet will take another break to be back with more development. Many thanks for rejoining this. The Minister of Mines and Energy, Wilmot Pay, says the lack of compliance from construction companies in Liberia poses serious threat to the progress of the country's mineral sector. Minister P admitted that the huge challenges have engulfed the mining sector in Liberia, making it difficult to manage the natural resources, especially the minerals of the country. He spoke at the official launch of a project aimed at encouraging transparency and good governance in the natural mineral sector of the country, organized by Integrity Watch Liberia with funding from the Embassy of Ireland.
We're just reflecting on exactly how difficult it has been for us as a country in the management of our natural resources, particularly mineral resources. The model we have been using has not worked. The model we've been using has not worked. That's why, as the Ministry of Mines and Energy, working with other relevant institutions of government, we are working towards changing the model. As I speak to you, we have about a dozen also concession agreements in Liberia, but only a tiny fraction of that is actually active. And even those that are active, the issue of compliance is also a huge challenge. And so under the arrest agenda, which was just launched last week, which is our development plan for the next 5 years or so, mineral sector governance is a critical priority area, very important. Even last year, when you look at our revenue generation for 2024 alone, we have a total of 600, a little over 600 million US dollars that were generated in revenue. Nearly 20% of that came from the mining sector alone. And that is happening against a backdrop that there's so much leakage, and that's happening within the context of weak regulation, weak systems. And so you can imagine what that means for the country. We lose a lot. We are losing a lot. Some of the resources, a lot of the resources we need to invest in other sectors can be generated right from the mining sector.
As part of effort to address the situation, Minister Wilmot P. disclosed a proposal of conducting a mineral sector conference aimed at decentralizing and bringing key stakeholders and the public together.
To do this year as part of our priority is to host a mineral sector conference, and that is in fulfillment, is in line with a key principle in the arrest, which is inclusiveness. So instead of just sitting in government ministries and agencies and then coming up with regulations that are almost always not implemented, we want participation. What do we do with our mineral resources, for example? How do we manage it? What do we intend to do with it? They're helping us so we can stand up and be firm. And that's very important, very, very important. This ministry, the Ministry of Mines and Energy, as a regulator, is not even present. It's not decentralized. And that's why under the arrest, decentralization of the ministry is very key. In fact, when you hear about mining agents and inspectors, there are people, many of whom don't even understand what mining is. So imagine relying on people who do not even understand what is involved as a people to monitor. It's an impossible thing. So this year we are recruiting 15 mining engineers to assign to the counties, because we'll be speaking with people who know what it means, who will not be intimidated by license holders, because they know exactly what it is, what to go for.
Mines and Energy Minister Wilmot P. The Managing Director of the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, Mohammed Ali, is leading a team of engineers and policymakers on a 2-week feasibility tour into southeastern Liberia to study the possibility of expanding pipe-borne water services to the region. As part of LWLC development and operational objectives, the corporation will be constructing, expanding, and modernizing water facilities in Zwedru, Plibo, and Greenfield cities. Speaking in an interview with this station, the corporation's communication manager, Nipsin Tor, disclosed that the corporation hopes to rehabilitate and construct water systems in all 15 counties by the end of 2029.
So the managing director is leading a high power dedication from the LWSC, and that dedication includes engineers, policymakers, and they will be going to Greenville, that's in Santa County, Plibo in Maryland, and Zwedru in Greenville County. The essence of this trip is to conduct a feasibility study on the possibility of restoring and for the first time introducing. Now, I say restore because prior to the war, the systems were active in Zwedru and in Greenville, that is in Sino County and in Greenville County. We had our presence there. Water and Sewer was providing similar service you are now utilizing in Monrovia, pipe-borne water in those two cities, but because of the war, this nation got ravaged. Every sector got affected, including the water sector. The systems there were ransacked. They were damaged beyond repair. So what the MD has decided to do moving forward on our strategic plan for the operations and development of LWAC is between now and 2029. At the end of 2029, this management is positive to restore pipe and water service to all 15 counties. So the trip to the southeast is to begin the process that will lead to the restoration of pipe and water in Greenville and in Zwaju, and for the first time in people to construct a mini water system there.
LWSC Communication Manager is Nipsin Tor. The city government of Painesville has transitioned its revenue collection and HR management system from analog to digital. Speaking to journalists Wednesday in Painesville City Mayor Robert Bestman said the process is aimed to improve operational efficiency, enhance user experience, and ensure accurate record keeping. According to him, the transition from analog to digital has had profound implications for both revenue collection and HR management.
Head of the revenue, I think she's one win. I always said to my revenue people, I don't want no nice revenue person. If you do nice, then you get be a revenue person. So that was the first meeting I had with my people, and I asked them, I said, who in this department is so nice? I was there, these are my questions I do. But I wanted to take all the nice people from the revenue department and bring them to do the hospital. I shake their hand flat. I want my revenue people to be very vigilant. And people complain because we have to have indiscipline. And I ask them for LRA, you go in the revenue department, we have nice people and they're profit for country. So that's the first thing I do my revenue people. And they are trying their best with all the situations that I want to recognize the revenue department. Last year, there was some improvement, and I think we can do better this year with that's the crime of this issue. The police better and I know, and you know where we were. So there is the ability to do this. We have some very decent idea in this country, but sometimes we don't tend to look at our work. So yeah, I started to talk, and I told him myself, we're going to write a paper. I need some specific idea where I was accountable.
Robert Bestman is Painesville City Mayor. The Ministry of Transport says it remains committed to ensuring full compliance of transportation fares across the country. Fude Sharif is the Ministry of Transport Deputy Director for Communication. He spoke at a news conference on Wednesday.
Ministry of Transport wishes to inform the general public that it remains the sole institution mandated by an act of legislation enacted in 1987 to regulate all transport-related activities within the Republic of Liberia. This includes, but not limited to, vehicle registration, driver licenses, eligibility certificates, and all transport-related businesses across Liberia. It has come to our attention that an unknown social media platform created by an unidentified group is leading the public by falsely claiming responsibility for providing these essential services, which are personally operated and governed by the Ministry of Transport. The ministry strongly advises the general public to refrain from engaging in any transaction or business dealings with this social media group, as they are unauthorized and not recognized by any legal authority in Liberia. Engaging with them may lead to fraudulent activities and compromise the safety and legality of transport operations. Therefore, the Ministry of Transport encourages the general public to proceed to the head office of the ministry between Warren and Kear streets.
For the massacre is the Ministry of Transport Deputy Director for Communications. Information Minister Jeremy Kear is urging Liberians to unite and embrace the culture of national peace and development. Speaking at Maker Tuesday, Minister Kear expressed frustration over some citizens' action of criticizing the country's election for the MCC compact. Minister Kear stated that the selection of Liberia for the compact is not a gain for the Unity Party, but will also benefit all Liberians regardless of political and tribal affiliations.
Liberia, is an interesting country. People will buy into what should happen in the country depending on the way they see things politically. So for those who believe that the success of an administration is a threat to their eventual coming to power, they will not want to see anything good. So even if it is clear that you're moving towards something that is progressive, that is good, they'll say, don't mind them. It's not going to happen. And that was the case when our country was chosen for Compact 2. I've seen some people who say they love this country so much, referring to it on social media as so-called Compact. Some have said, why are you celebrating for nothing is going to happen? Nobody's going to get Liberia 1 cent. And just flow show their own. And I'm wondering, why would anybody think that way? I thought if we have Compact 2 and get funding in the tune of over $500 million, it should be good for the country. Why is it not being embraced by everybody? Why are there some who say it should not happen? And why are there some who are angry whenever they hear that something good is supposed to happen?
Information Minister Jeremy Kear. Well, listeners, on that note, this I would like to draw down the curtains of today's Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, 6 p.m. edition of Kear Newsline. This has been the joint effort of the News and Current Affairs Department, yet at Kear Communications Network. Many thanks to all the reporters, contributors, editors who helped in making this edition of the program a success. Many thanks to Mariama and Jalloh who brought for us a full bulletin of national and international news. James Walkway sat at control and handled the technical aspect. Princess Kamara coordinated. Many thanks to George Guer who ensured our visibility goes beyond the studio. Before we take a leave, a recap of our headlines. Main opposition CDC threatens to vehemently resist arrest on its lawmakers. Party's chairman Janga Kuo urges party legislative caucus to boycott the State of the Nation address. University of Liberia president discloses plans to review free tuition policy at the state-run university. Dr. Lydia McParyan admits that the policy provides better opportunities but undermines internal revenue generation. As you heard in the news, ruling Unity Party breaks on several gains within its first year. Party Chairman Reverend Luther Tappe highlights poverty reduction and pavement of roads across critical regions as major achievement. And away from Liberia, Kenya will allow citizens of nearly all African countries to visit without prior authorization, according to a new directive by the cabinet. Thanks for listening. For more news on the station at 6 a.m., at which time Kear Newsroom will return with more captivating stories. I'm Lee Monjue, are packaged and presented. Good night.